Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Do not adjust your screens. Welcome to Extratyne. We have an absolute bonanza tonight. As you can see, we have a full house. We nearly had 6, actually. Best wishes to Jess. She was going to join us, but she's unable to tonight. So we nearly had a proper bonanza. 6 of the best, but we're going to settle for the famous 5, Enid Blyton style. Was that Enid Blyton, rather?
Oh, you would have to look at it really sharp. I don't want to it was. It was. I can't quite remember.
No, the famous 5. What was it? No, was it not the Guildford 4? No, that's a different thing, isn't it, altogether? Right. Okay. So, yes, welcome to Extratyne. Coming to you live from our living rooms, bathrooms, bedrooms, caravans, in Ian's case. Deep bunker. Technologically advanced panic room from Scott there, and Laura's bottom of the stairs, so champion. And Razza's coming from his home office there behind those lovely, are they Pax wardrobes, by the way? IKEA Pax wardrobes?
IKEA's finest. IKEA's
finest. Did you put them together yourself, Bonnie lad?
I did, with a lot of swearing, aye. A lot of sweat, blood and swearing.
Nice one. Right. So, yes, as you can see, we are joined this evening by an absolute bevy of beauties. We are joined by Laura. Good evening, Laura. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'll be better tomorrow. Half term. Whoop.
Woo! This is where teachers go kicking off style. Scott, how are you today? How's things in Amsterdam?
I'm all right. I'm still a bit COVID ridden, so I'm getting over it, hopefully. Yes. But I'm doing all right.
Have you tested again today? Are you positive, negative?
Tested yesterday, and I was still a little bit positive. It took a bit longer for the light to show, so I'm going to hope by Saturday, Sunday I'll be all right.
See you on the mend. And Ian, you're in full fitness, I hope.
I thought you were still.
Yeah, he's
yeah.
Our roving reporter.
Yes, yes. We have Ian live on a caravan site. Ian, tell us what's happened.
I don't really know, Jeff.
I get in.
What happened there?
Oh, that was class. Ian, how are you doing? How's your week been?
I'm a little bit confused, and I don't know what's just happened, but I'm good.
Stand up fair.
Were you still on there? Because mine just completely went at you.
Yeah, we were still on. You were like this.
Oh, was it?
So, yeah.
Oh, wait.
It's usually my internet that goes dodgy. So
could have been worse, like.
Yeah. Could have been doing something else.
I'm not even connected to Wi-Fi either, so no idea what's going on. I am absolutely brilliant, really good. It's Friday tomorrow, so I'll be even better.
Yeah, exactly. And Razza, join us from Harley Green, where I believe there's a localised heat wave. How are you doing, mate?
Mate, tropical conditions, you know what I mean? What I say is living the dream in the sweatbox, man. Come on.
Well, it's got to be done. And actually, we've been joined last minute actually by an additional person. So, yeah, we've been joined by an additional person this evening. She is. Sorry. She's gone to the. That's the
I didn't know you heard down the stairs, mate.
It's the wrong Zoom link that she's gone to. I do apologise. Sorry about that, Kate. You've gone into the wrong room there. Yes. So welcome everybody. Thank you very much for joining us, and all those people who are live joining us. We've got 50 people online at the moment. We've got I'm going to say this wrong, so I'm going to try my best. We've got Toonza, the one and only. We've got Tom joining us. He's already mentioned the R word, and it's not Rafa, it's rumours. We've got Cal, El Grande, and hopefully a few more they'll be adding in the comments there. So thank you very much. Please stay involved. Get yourself into the comments. And I'll try and show as many as I possibly can. I've got these 4 to manage as well. So, you know, I've got to try my best. But yes, despite the fact that there's been no game, well, there's no game to preview, unless you're into the Champions League final, that boring stuff, you know. But yes, we did obviously have the end of season last week. Super Sunday, Razza, we spent it together.
Unbelievable, Jeff.
That almost sounded romantic, didn't it? We spent it together.
You cuddled us a couple of times. It was very romantic.
Well, you know, I'm a tactile kind of guy. Well, speaking of tactile, Laura, where did you catch up on the last game of the season? I know you've been feeling quite emotional recently. So did Callum Wilson's goals fill you with joy unbound?
No, because I was in the Old George, and I assumed that they would show like the title decider, and there was 3 Leeds fans in the whole. No, there wasn't. There was a stag do from Leeds, and so they showed the Leeds game. So I didn't really see any of our game, and then I ended up in the crow's nest. But yes, had a good day.
Nice.
No crying.
No crying. That's good. That's good. Well, we all kind of suspected we may be crying during that game a few weeks ago. Actually, we'll come to our predictions. Actually, while that's in me memory, we'll come to that very, very soon. Scott, did you manage to get out of the house to watch it, or were you still quarantining and obeying the rules? Because the Dutch police carry batons, guns, and tasers, so don't mess about with those boys.
They do, yeah. You don't mess with the Dutch police. Although finding a Dutch policeman's hard enough, I think, is the thing in the first place. But no, I was.
Is that a clever euphemism, like?
Please get it hard enough there. I didn't ask quite what was on that.
No.
Finding the Dutch policeman.
They're very relaxed. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
they don't really care. But no, I was self-isolating, so I was watching it from the comfort of my own living room. I was on my own as well, so it was even better.
Oh yes, was your lass still in the Lebanon? Was she still there?
She was, yes. That was the day. So I was supposed to miss the game because the time of the wedding was the time of kickoff. Right. So it actually turned out all right.
Oh,
of the fact I got COVID, like
tissues.
Yeah, COVID. You're like, where have all these red pens come from, Scott?
I had to hide the red virus.
Ian, where did you catch the game?
Well, sadly, I didn't catch the last Newcastle game. I went down to the missus's, and she doesn't have Sky Sports, so I had to have a little set. There was Sky Showcase.
Red flag there, by the way. Straight red flag there, by the way.
Fair play to her. She was like, she did say, "Oh, I'll buy Sky Sports just for you." I was like, she's like, keep her. But now I had my mobile. She was right into it as well. You know?
Laura,
did she offer to find the Dutch policeman or not?
Shouldn't need to be doing some searching to find that.
You can't find one. Look, Alan, you can't find one.
So I had the Liverpool and Man City games on my phone, and then the Leeds game on the telly, and then obviously Scott's recorded from his Dutch telly showing our goals. So I was covered on all bases.
Oh, well done, well played. Raza, you and I, we were at one of our mates' house, and we had kids over here, kids over here screaming, and then we had 3 screens at one point.
We did. We had, it was us, and then we put Liverpool on, and then we had to find another device to put Man City on. Yeah. So, was it? No, it was a good end, wasn't it? Yeah, good end. Good end of the season. Interesting end. Laura,
just a little bit on the game then on Sunday. I'm sure you were delighted to see Callum Wilson fit in many senses of the word and firing as well. Laura, how impressed were you with Callum Wilson?
Yeah, I only seen the highlights. Like I said, I missed the full game. But yeah, it's just the impact. I think we touched on it the last time we were on, but the impact that he's had since coming back is just immense. And I didn't see loads of it, but any debate about whether we should keep him because of his fitness, I think has just been blown out the window the last month since he's come back, just due to how much of an impact he makes on the game and how much he is just the top striker, like blows any of the others out the window by a mile. And I do think we need another one, don't get us wrong, because it is unlikely he's going to get fit, but it is just great to see him back. He plays a completely different game, doesn't he? And it's just much more exciting, and much more confident. Like if he's one-on-one with the keeper than anyone else, you just feel like he's going to score, don't you? So yeah.
And hopefully you've all seen, well, you might have seen the reports today, reported quite widely. I think Craig Hope in the Daily Mail was reporting that Callum Wilson's, I think it was Callum Wilson's he's going to make his family or ask his family to move up because he must be doing some travelling, and he said that was affecting possibly his injuries. So, Scott, do we think we could be looking at, if Callum Wilson stays fit and firing, could he go at the World Cup?
I think he's got a good a chance as any. I think really it's between him and Calvert-Lewin who gets that final striker spot in that England squad. And Calvert-Lewin hasn't exactly lit the world afire this year. I know he's had injuries and he's had other problems, which he's openly spoke about this week. But I think whoever scores the most next season before the World Cup between those two is the fourth choice, if you will, striker for that World Cup. He's been there before. He's done it before, so there's no reason why he can't get back in there. Southgate seems to be quite pally with the Staveley consortium, and he's been sit next to her a few times. So, I'm sure he'll have plenty of opportunity to come to the ground and watch him. Even when the tickets are all sold out, he'll get somewhere similar to Raza's shoes. Getting them when there's none of us around.
Just to clarify, he's not walking down to wherever he's going. He's going a 700-mile round trip. So I can only assume his family might be down south, still in Bournemouth, possibly London, but we'll see. Raza, talking about strikers. I don't want to go into transfer rumours because the season's barely finished and already it's going absolutely crazy, and I'm sure that'll probably keep us entertained, well, for a majority of the close season. But with Wilson, I know we've already said, a few comments have said Wood isn't really good enough up there. He's not, when he came on, he had very, very little effect. But what are you hoping for Callum Wilson next season? What are you expecting?
I mean, pretty much what Laura said. There's no debate. Fit Callum Wilson is an outstanding striker. He's clinical. He's a goal scorer. He's a proven goal scorer. Now you kind of harp on too much about the injuries, but you've got to look at his past history. He hasn't had many full seasons where he hasn't picked up an injury, which is frustrating. Because if fit Callum Wilson gives you 20 goals a season, without a doubt, we've shown towards the end of the season with the great chances with the players we've got. So ultimately, we don't need another striker because you can't rely on somebody who's got a pass record that he's got of being 100% fit. The saving grace for Callum Wilson is obviously the World Cup comes November this year. So if he starts the season off to a flyer, he's got as good a chance as anybody else, because apart from your Harry Kane, the England team, sort of attacking wise, all the places up for grabs, you know what I mean? So I think if he starts the season up to a flyer, the main thing, England, I'd rather he stayed fit for the tune and played week in, week out, you know what I mean? Yeah. So as long as he does that, I'd be more than happy for him. But the kid's a class act, it's as simple as that. Touching on wood, see what I've done there. The kid done a job for her, he's done a job when he's come in. He probably hasn't liked the way he's had to play, he's been isolated a little bit, but he's done a job for the team. So we've got to remember that, and he's come in, he's done a job, and he's helped us at times grind out those results as well, allowing people to link up. But and now we don't need to speculate, but certainly, striker is a position we need to improve on, and we need to recruit. Simple as that.
Yeah. Going on to the England thing, I was delighted to see that Kieran Trippier was back in the England squad. I was surprised, given that he's only just come back from injury, but. Ian,
Harry Maguire got called up, man. What are you surprised for? You know what I mean? There's a chance any of us five could get called up if Harry Maguire. That's why we're not going to win the World Cup, because Harry Maguire's in the team.
That is true. Ian, were you surprised with Trippier? And do you think he can start doing some groundwork on some of those England players, try and get them over to the tune?
Yeah, just agent Kieran Trippier. I agree with you. I think, given obviously, he had an incredible start to it, not just in terms of his goal, like his free kicks, but what he brought to the team as a whole, as a leader. Looking at the England setup, I don't really pay that much attention other than like the big tournaments. But obviously, you've got Trent, who is a phenomenal player, and I know you've got Reece James, and there's another one, isn't there? Can't remember. So he is got obviously competition for his place, but I just think he's a class professional. He's head and shoulders above anyone that we've got in, especially in the sort of the back four, the back five. But it's nice to see a Newcastle player back in the England squad. I think think what I was saying in the group chat was 2016 the last time. Someone from Newcastle, and that was Andros Townsend, who was on his way out anyway. And before that, I think obviously Colback got called up, but I don't think he got injured before he even played. And I think before that was Andy Carroll. So you're going back years but looking at it and just touching on Callum Wilson, other than Harry Kane, really, you haven't got like an out-and-out clinical striker in England at the minute. You look at sort of Calvert-Lewin, who's done very little this season. Danny Ings had a good start, so there's as much, like Raza was saying, there's as much chance as anyone for him to get in the England squad. But I agree with him again. I'd rather him stay fit for Newcastle than worry about England. But it'd be nice to see more players in the England squad.
I think it is nice to just have the word Newcastle in an England squad. I think it's just that novelty. But hopefully, as our as Brendan Rodgers would say, our journey continues, or Simon Cowell might say that as well. Hopefully, we start seeing a few more England internationals, possibly Brazilian internationals, but we'll come to that in the squad. That would be really, really absolutely amazing. Kind of moving on from England slightly, but with a tenuous link in his interview. Laura, we had a signing this week, a renewed contract, long awaited. It's been sort of spoken about for probably a year to 18 months, possibly, about his contract running down. One of several players whose contracts are running down. We secured Shaw in the last couple of weeks, and now Sean Longstaff. I always do that. Why do I always do that? Sean Longstaff. Laura, what's your take on Sean Longstaff's 3-year contract and his interview, where he doesn't name any names, but he hints about our former manager?
Yeah, I was listening intently to your build-up because I thought it was one of them ones where it was going to be like a punchline at the end. And I was like,
well, I mentioned Ray Liotta's dead or something like that.
Didn't encourage him, Laura. How?
And nobody always does it to me, and then I panic. I just caught that. I've just got in, so I just caught that. I only caught half of his interview, but we were talking before we came on, like the first half. Wow, it is very clear that he didn't like the previous setup at all. He wasn't enjoying his football. He even used the phrase his head was turned. He used the phrase that we all knew about Newcastle being a stepping stone club and using it to move on to better things. And I loved the positivity around the interview and where he wanted to go and the ambition, and his relationship with Hal was really quite heartwarming about how he talks to him every other day and all that. And I'm happy with it. I mean, I'm sure a few weeks ago I was probably giving it all the whole, we're kind of be sentimental, blah, blah, blah. But I also think I meant that in terms of your Miggies, other players. Whereas I really do believe that there's a place for, Paul Dummett, Sean Longstaffs in maybe not Paul Dummett as a first team player every week. Sean Longstaff, possibly. Who knows? He's done really well in the latter few games. Anyway, I wouldn't say half of the season, but the last few games. So I'd like to see how he could progress under Howe, because under we loved him not long ago, and it was only under that previous manager that we didn't think he was good enough. And that interview just shows that he wasn't enjoying his football. He wasn't getting a game every now. He wasn't enjoying himself. He wasn't in the right headspace for it. So now that there's this whole winning mentality and unity and all that, I'm more than happy for him to have a place in the squad and to have a 3-year contract.
Scott, just coming to you, because you're usually the go-to man for little technical issue around squad quotas and things like that. Do you think, Sean Longstaff, he is talented, he's shown himself to be talented previously. Is there any stock in the fact that he's a local player, he's played through the academy, and might that be a reason he's an easy fit? And would it affect the squad size and things like that, or would it affect the quota? We'll have to have a certain amount of homegrown players. I'll let you try and work your way through that.
it wouldn't affect the squad size. You named 25. The only players outside of that are people who are 20 or under. So he's long gone that now. But he does count towards a homegrown. So you've got to have at least 8 homegrown, which they don't have to be at Newcastle. They just have to be trained in England from like the youth team going up. So we've got a few already, like Dan Burn qualifies, Matt Ritchie qualifies, obviously Paul Dummett will qualify. I think a few others as well. The names escape me. Obviously Callum Wilson, he'll qualify as homegrown. So, you know, we're okay there. So I don't think it has anything to do with that, to be honest. I do just think Eddie Howe, he's always spoke well about Sean Longstaff, even since he first came in, even when Longstaff, let's be honest, wasn't deserving of a new contract. He was always speaking well of him, how well he does in training. And, you know, I don't think it's any, there's no real shock that he was the one who was mic'd up when they did that kind of thing in Saudi or Dubai, sorry, where he was the one on the microphone. And, you know, I think they see him as like, oh, well, he's the local lad. He's the guy who can get the young local lads on board with us in terms of the fan base, because, you know, who doesn't want to see a Geordie playing for Newcastle? You know, I mean, we've got Dan Burn obviously now as well. Sean, even Matty might even break through, although I think maybe that's a bit too soon for him. Another loan was probably what we'll get out of him for next season. But in terms of his contract, you know, I think had we had 8 games left of the season when he started to kind of pick up his form, then absolutely it would have been deserved. I think time has kind of forced our hand a little bit here, because I don't want to, you know, sound like I'm shitting on him, but he has only really had 3 or 4 games where he's performed this season, and the rest haven't really been great. So, I mean, yes, there is a player there, and yes, he has shown those signs. And if you look at the other players who've improved over Howe, this is about the time when they start to show that extra step of quality. So hopefully that happens. But I think the fact that his contract was up has forced our hand a little bit in terms of giving him a contract without really seeing what he can do.
Raza, do you think that possibly, you know, getting him signed to a contract, midfield is an area where we do have some strength? Could this spell the end or be an indication that maybe it's John Joe Shelvey? We could be looking at maybe it's him going out the exit door, because Bruno is obviously going to be the linchpin of that midfield. He seems to be able to play all of those positions where, you know, and particularly the position where John Joe Shelvey plays. Do you think that could be curtains for John Joe Shelvey, or do we think maybe it's another year? What do you reckon?
I think Shelvey will probably get another year. Just something Scott touched on. I was trying not to be critical of players under the previous regime, because it felt shocking to criticise them players when, you know, you had a dinosaur like Bruce and George, who, let's face it, he then went to West Brom, and I shouldn't talk about him, but he went to West Brom and they're actually in a worse position they were than when he took over, you know. So the whole squad was undercoached, the whole squad was undertrained, you know. You've just got to look at how, since he's come in, sort of going up Longstaff. But you like see Shelby's played his best football he's ever played for me in a black and white shirt since Howe's come in. And the reason for that is there's competition now. You know, we're a club where, this is going to be hypocritical, we're a club who don't just re-sign players, even though we've just re-signed Longstaff. But we know going forward we're going to make other signings. You know what I mean? It's not a case of, Matt Ritchie's going to get another contract, you know. There's players going to move on. It's as simple as that, you know. And yes, so they've done worse service. Quite a few of them have done worse service in the Championship as well, which is a massive bugbear for me, because I think if you've been in the Championship and yes, you come back up and then you've been back in the Championship, you're not good enough. You need to move on. We're now at a time with a club where things are changing. Longstaff is young enough to improve. He'll improve tenfold playing week in, week out with Bruno, with, you know, obviously Joe Linton. We've seen it. I mean, he doesn't get the credit that he deserves for the other night. The ball he played through for the second goal.
Oh, yeah.
Outstanding. You know, if David Silva or somebody's doing that, they talk about it all the time, you know what I mean? There's a player there, Laura touched on it, you know, we look at him under Rafa. Christ almighty, apparently we were fighting bids up for Man United, about 30 million for him. And then a few months later, we think, why the hell didn't we take it? You know, it's all down to the management, and it's down to being wanted. arm around your shoulder. You just look at what Eddie Howe's done, not just to the whole team. You know, there's a unity there. If you had told me Kraft was a good fullback a couple of months ago, I would have laughed at you. Look at what that's down to Howe and his coaching team, you know, and it'll be good. I want as many Geordies in the team as you can, because I'm not being funny. You'll get an extra 20% out of them because they know what it's like. Money cannot buy what you've got in you, in your heart, in your blood. You know what I mean? So I'd love to see, 11 Geordies, as John Hall used to say back in the day. But the players we've got.
Oh, you're an old romantic, Razza, aren't you?
Well, but you want that connection, you know what I mean?
And he stuck up for Joel in that time when
that's it,
yeah,
and I mean, let's face it, the last manager hired him under the bus twice in press conferences saying, I've done it. I mean, if you make it, you very rarely hear a Klopp or a Guardiola, if anybody's dropped a bollock, come out and actually say it out there to the wider audience. Yeah. If you've watched the Amazon thing with Guardiola, he bollocks them in the dressing room. He tears. You didn't think Pep swears. He tears the shit out of them in front of the camera. He'll defend them all the way. We had a gaffer who didn't do that to save his own bacon or skin, whatever you want to say. He'd hide them under the bus. You know what I mean? And would you want to turn into graft and play it with somebody there? Of course you wouldn't. Your head is going to drop down, But now he's got a gaffer there who believes in him, which is massive. If you've got a gaffer who you get on with and believe in you, you kind of want to do a little bit extra. Yeah. And if all your teammates are all pulling in the same way, then there's no ceiling as to how far you can go. So I'm pleased we have signed him. I rabbited it on a bit there, but there you go.
That was a speech and a half.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you.
So Ian,
you know what I mean? I've got a lot to say.
He's got a lot to get off his chest, Just coming to one of the comments there, Ian. Talking about Sean's Longstaff's new deal, and Elliot Anderson's a name that's been mentioned. Had a great season with Bristol Rovers, getting promoted. What do we think next season holds for him? Would you expect to see him on loan again? Possibly. Have Bristol Rovers gone up to the League? Have they gone up to League One, or have they gone to the Championship? League One. So maybe. Do you expect to see him in a Championship team? Sunderland possibly next season?
Definitely not Sunderland. The likelihood is he'll go back out on loan. I mean, sort of, we were saying in the group chat, just the League One playoffs, the quality of League One is, let's face it, it's not great. He does look like he has a lot of talent, though. It's a difficult one just in terms of the whole picture, because obviously he's a local lad. You want him in and around the team. He's quite clearly talented. But as you progress further, in terms of recruiting bigger and better players, where does he then fit in with that? So he does have to prove himself, I think, at a much higher level than League Two, League One. So it wouldn't surprise us if he goes out on League One. Championship again, I think, is a completely different animal from League One. So I think next couple of seasons as a loan, and then see where he's at then. But again, that would depend on who we're getting in the next 2-3 seasons and where he would fit in that time. It's really good problems to have. It's used to being like just all doom and gloom, isn't it? But it's nice to have these issues. Just touching back on what everyone was saying about Longstaff, there is a player in there. I mean, Raza said that we're fighting off bids from Man U, 30, 50 million or whatever it was. Everyone was comparing him to Declan Rice in sort of the early days. I mean, you've seen where Declan Rice has ended up. And I agree completely with Raza. It comes down to the coaching and the mindset that was instilled in him, because he did look a player under Rafa, and then obviously under Bruce, just because of his training regime and whatnot, just completely off the boil. But last couple of performances, I don't think he's been magnificent and world class this season, but the last couple of performances that he's put in towards the end of the season, very similar to Mickey. I think he definitely deserves a chance. So nice to see him get a new contract.
Yeah, but by the from what he said in the interview, apart from kind of on the sly slating Bruce, he kind of alluded to the fact that he wants to play for England without saying he wants to play for England. Like, there was an air of, I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do. I would like, to play. So I think it's really good that we have players who've got this ambition now, because for years we didn't have any ambition at any, in any facet of the club. So, for me, it would cost a lot to replace him as a midfielder. And like all the points that you guys have made about being local, about him having that talent and showing that he has previously, but let's see what next season brings for Sean Longstaff. A really, really quick one. A couple of people mentioned about Manquillo and Kraft. Obviously, Kraft's improvement's been stunning, shocking, whatever adjective you want to use. Could that possibly spell the end for Manquillo, who I think, I've always been a big fan of Manquillo. Laura, really quickly, would you Kraft over Manquillo in current form, current performances?
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's current form, and under current form, we've seen more of Kraft than we have Manquillo. So obviously in my head, I'm thinking, Kraft. But then a few months ago, I would have said Manquillo. So I don't know. I think it's a hard one, and I swore I wasn't going to get involved in all the transfer and keeping people and all that, because nobody knows until it's done, and it's pointless speculating. So
I mean,
because we've got Lewis to come back as well, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like Lewis. I think I've said this before, and I would give him a chance. And I think Eddie Howe hopefully will give him a chance, and we'll see. We'll see where he ends up next season. I think it's just really nice to be looking forward to. I think we're all probably like,
we've never had
I think we're all probably
that's what it is, isn't it? Like what I said about Kraft and Manquillo on current form. You say Kraft, but a few months ago you say Manquillo. It's because of the competition, and like that's only a good thing. It's good to have.
Yeah, really good. Just coming back to Steve Bruce very briefly, because I suppose he's current. I don't know if you all saw Miles Stayforth's article in the Shield Gazette, where Steve Bruce was doing his best Amber Heard impression and playing the victim card about not having as much money as Eddie Howe, and he's had a lot more money to spend than I ever did. And a quick look at the last 18 months, the 2 years of Steve Bruce's career, he spent infinitely more money than Eddie Howe spent. But don't let the facts get in front of a good sob story.
You've just got to look at Joe Linton, man. That regardless of what Eddie Howe, Joe Linton, the one person who's been turned around. I've never seen a change in a footballer, and that's down to Eddie Howe. Yeah, that's what Steve Bruce does to you as a footballer. Just
while we're kind of talking about news articles, Ian, Targett's becoming a bit of a saga. I know it's a transfer thing. We don't want to talk about transfers, but he is our player, or he has been our player for the last 5 months or so. Just a quick one. Do you think we'll end up with Targett for next season? Yes or no, Ian? What do you think?
Sadly, I don't think we will. I think we'll probably go in for him, see what Villa say, but I don't think he'll end up at us, unfortunately, which is really sad, because I think he's probably been as good as the likes of Dan Burn. A little bit unsung for what work he did, but like compared to the likes of Bruno and players like that. But I thought he was a solid left back. I would love to see him, but I don't think it's in the cards, unfortunately.
Yeah. Scott, quick one for you. Stick or twist with Matt Targett, what would you do?
I think with Targett, he was obviously really, really good for us in the time he spent with us. But if there is better out there that we can get, I'm all for a cheeky upgrade every now and again. So, we've got Lewis, we've got Dummett, even Manquillo can fill in on the left. So, I mean, if we're bringing, there's rumours that Renan Lodi, I mean, he's a player, he'd be like signing another striker as well in that regards, because he does get forward a bit. Trippier knows him obviously well from Atletico, so it'll cost for more money. But I don't think Targett's contract expires until the 30th of May. So we've still got a bit of time, and I do think there's a release clause, because Gerrard, I think Steven Gerrard was asking the press about when he's like, it's over at Newcastle, like it's up to them whether he stays or goes. So I think the ball's in our court. We've got the upper hand there. It's just whether or not we want to meet whatever the buy clause was in the loan. If there has been one, I think it was 15 million was touted. So it's worth it. But I think if we upgrade, we'll upgrade. Like, we'll not get him in.
Yeah. The last couple of weeks, the last probably since Eddie House came in, one of the names that's constantly come up. I mean, he's always coming up in every conversation, Newcastle fan. But Alan Saint-Maximin today has been reported that he's set to stay at Newcastle United. I mean, I didn't realise that he was about set to leave, but there we go. And possibly be looking to upgrade, as to coin a phrase from Scott there, his contract there. Raza, I'm going to come to you on Alan Saint-Maximin. I know you have some strong opinions on that young man, our mercurial French winger. A very important player for us. He's been involved in, I think, 35% of our chances this season. I've read somebody who worked the numbers on him. For me, for you, Raza, how would you solve the Alan Saint-Maximin puzzle? We'll say.
He's a talent. Look, he was a talent.
Are you doing your best Boris Johnson there? Trying to be very diplomatic.
You know, there's a dribbler there, isn't there? You know what I mean? And he's lovely hair and he's Raj hairbands and stuff like that. His end product shite. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. His goals, he doesn't get enough goals for me. He doesn't pass the ball enough for me. You know, he must be frustrating to play with. He looked good under Howe. I think Howe's reined him in a bit and said to him, look, you know, you've got to start doing a bit for the team here.
Which I think, to be fair, Raz, I think it's worth saying he looks like he has, the last couple of games he has started to do that.
I was just going to say, like we mentioned it, you know, a couple of games we watched together. He's getting back, he's tracking back, you know, he's doing his part. Hey, I remember Ginola, he never used to track back, but he used to give you something. He used to create a goal, he used to score a goal. Maxim is too inconsistent for me at the minute. And I just always, I remember Vieira getting interviewed and somebody had said, oh, why is this player not, you know, in a top 6 club? And Vieira said, because his attitude's not right, you know, and you hear stories, he's still getting fined, you know, this, that, and the other. And you just look at where you want to be as a team. You know, you look at say a Man City or a Liverpool. They didn't find players every day because, you know, you do it once or twice and then you didn't do it anymore. At the time when Maxim was when Maxim, you know, was there, he was the best out of a bad bunch. Now, you know, who's our best player? What on about Wilson's back in? You look at Bruno, you know. I mean, people are saying he's, you know, outside the top 6, nobody's created more than Maxim. Look at, hey, he could create a lot more if he got his head up and passed the ball. Sometimes he just runs down the corridor. And that's the games he wants to be interested in. There's other games where his head goes down, he doesn't want to know. You know. He's young though, you know, so there is a bit of growing up, you know. I get he's come to a different country, different culture. He seems a very, very nice lad because all the players speak very highly of him, you know, so he does seem like a nice lad. But next season's a massive season for him. I will give him another season, definitely. But it's time to perform week in, week out, you know, because like I say, we're a club now where you don't just have to keep somebody for the sake of it, you know. He'll get to the point, if he's not performing, he'll get hired. It doesn't matter how much of a fan favourite he is or how much razzle-dazzle he has, you know. But for me, he can do better. And the school report can do better, easily distracted, you know what I mean?
I might as well come to school teacher. Laura, just quickly from you on Alan Saint-Maximin next season, do you expect to see him, our number 10, lining up at St James's Park, first game of the season?
Oh yeah, 100%. It didn't even enter my head that he would go this season at all. I thought that they'd definitely give him, like Reza said, at least another season. I think Chris spoke about it on All the Smiling Faces, and Reza just mentioned there that it is a big season for him. I think he was starting to lose quite a few of the fans' opinions on him. Certainly mine. I'm going to hold my hands up. He'd done my absolute head in. I was constantly frustrated at him. So was a lot of the people who sit around me because, like as I said, I know I'm repeating, but he's not consistent enough, and he does put his head down. His attitude isn't great. However, I am willing, like my opinion matters, but I am willing to
You heard it here first, Alan.
Alan,
Laura's willing. I want you
Alan,
back
listen.
for good.
Come in, Alan. Come in.
And actually, yes, he was just jogging through Hall Green, by the way.
I think I will give him like a good talking to over the summer and a lot of coaching, and I think we'll see the Saint-Maximin, like we're saying. I seen a comment, I think you showed it, and it does make a difference when, without sounding like those comments he made a few weeks ago, when he's got Callum Wilson up there, he's a better player because he knows and he's confident in Callum Wilson that if he pings the ball in, he's going to put it in the net. So I do think I think it'll be better next season. I do. Well, I hope.
Yeah, I think we all do. Okay, so moving on from players, our history-beaten manager, Eddie Howe, was alongside Thomas Frank, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp. Was that all of them? Yeah, was that all of them?
Vieira.
And Vieira, yes, sorry, thank you, Ian. For manager of the season. Ian, Klopp took the trophy. Klopp took the win. I don't know whether they'll count that as a part of that would be the quadruple or the treble. But Ian, what's your opinion on Eddie Howe missing out on that? And if Guardiola shouldn't have won, should Eddie Howe have won, or do you think? I think as Laura thinks, the Premier League winner should get it if if another sort of lesser manager doesn't.
It's for me. I mean, I dislike Liverpool and Klopp anyway. But I think someone made a very good point that he not once won manager of the month, but he's won manager of the season. And I get they've went on. Don't get us wrong, Liverpool have been absolutely mint, like unbelievable to watch. And people are saying, but he's won the FA Cup, he's won the Carabao Cup or whatever. But that's a different competition. It's about the Premier League, and he's finished second, so he's been a runner-up to someone better than him. So when Laura was on about she thinks the manager that won the Premier League should be, I agree with that. But looking at the context of literally what Eddie Howe's done, you can't look past him to say that he should have been very close second or in the running for first. So we give teams a 14-game head start. No one's in the Premier League ever not won 14 games and stayed up. He's done that. And everyone will turn to, you've spent money. But as Raza touched on before, it's not, yes, we've brought in players, but in the same breath, people are saying, you've only bought Dan Burn. You've got a loan player from Villa. You've signed Chris Wood for 25 million. Yeah. They just changed the sort of the narrative to fit what sort of dig they wanted to get in. But it's the likes of the turnaround in Joe Linton, in John Joe Shelby, in Emil Kraft, the togetherness that he's brought in. He's done a lot more than just win football games. He's united the club again. Obviously, there's bias from Newcastle fans that think he should win manager of the month, but manager of the season. He's definitely in for a shout. People are saying Vieira, he's done really well, but we finished above. Again, we finished above Palace, give them 14-game head start. So anyone but Klopp, really, because I really, really dislike him. He's just
I feel a T-shirt or a mug coming on, like anyone but Klopp. Like we should all just get one. Speaking of managers of the season, we have one of those in our midst. Scott has been. He took on the NUFC job on Football Manager, and I believe it came to a successful conclusion.
It did. I think we ended up 14th, if I remember rightly. It was a few weeks ago now. But 14th, Palace got relegated, so there's no way Vieira's getting manager of the month on that. But just touching on those awards, they're all fan voted for, right? Like that's my big problem with them, and that's why I don't think we should really take them to heart. Is they're not only fan voted for, but that's open worldwide. So like I had no problems voting here in Amsterdam. You can vote wherever you are. So it's almost a given that Man City and Liverpool are probably going to have the most number of fans across the globe, and you're always going to vote for your own, right? Doesn't matter if Eddie Howe was the second or third best manager, he's in there. You vote for him as a Newcastle fan, right? Same with goal of the season, same with goal of the month, player of the month. It's one of those awards that I don't know when it happened, but they took it to a fan vote, And it should never be that. It should always be voted for either by fellow professionals, like the LMA one is, or by pundits. I'll use the words pundits really loosely because we know how bad they're. Steve Bruce would get it every month if you let the pundits vote. But I just, for me, him not getting it, yeah, it's fine. But it's a bit of a two-bit award because it's fan voted for.
Yeah.
If it was fellow professionals or an actual proper award like it used to be, then yeah, it has a bit more clout.
Well, apparently, it's a percentage of fans voted, but I think probably your point still remains the same, that Liverpool, they do have a worldwide, huge, massive fan base, so it is going to have an effect on it. But also, taking the other metrics, the fact that a lot of the press are seemingly have this love affair with Liverpool, and they have that presence from the 80s, still probably in a lot of Fleet Street. So, I think we are a little bit sour about it. Like, for me, I was a bit like, well, to be fair to Klopp, yeah, we're gone. Get your tin helmet on. I do think, like, to be able to maintain the standards in the Premier League, despite the fact that and you could probably say the same for Guardiola as well, by the way, but to maintain the standards, that Liverpool have reached this season, despite the fact that they
didn't win the Premier League, though,
all of these competitions. So
it's shaking.
I could kind of
if you've done the league, you've done your job. You're the best manager. Guardiola should get the award.
Yeah, their aim, Liverpool's aim, was to win the league.
Never make me
so he technically failed. Like, Eddie Howe didn't fail.
Get it off, man. He's got fake teeth and all.
I tried. I tried. I was trying to give a devil's advocate argument there, but we'll
load of shit. Well done. Well done, Guardiola. Well done, son.
But there we go. Yeah.
He hasn't got fake teeth like Klopp. I can't stand Klopp. That was my Klopp impression. I
did like him when he first came in, and then he very quickly became this.
Very irritating.
Come in and he just started moaning about everything. Like, he's got a God-given right to win a Premier League award.
Yeah.
When he finished second, it's shit. I'm gonna write the strongly worded letter.
You do that, Raza. You do that. I'll proofread it before you send it off.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
I'll get a vat of Tip X and all that, and then just make sure.
Some emulsion.
Oh man. So yeah, I think for me, I do think from each of the starting points and what the targets were, like Laura was saying, I think Eddie Howe's target was to steal, and he's far exceeded that. Will finish top of the bottom, which I quite like the sound of. But,
so close to getting in the top half as well. I was so gutted about that. Like, I mean, it didn't really, realistically, I mean, it's an extra couple of million, which would have been handy, but just to be like bottom in December and then so many points adrift and finish in the top half would have been absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
But there's always next season.
Yes, there's always next. Well, we'll be aiming for top 4 next season, Ian. I think we've made that very, very clear. I don't expect top 4 just before anybody has kittens, but why not? Why not shoot for the stars? You might hit the moon. Who knows? Or whatever the phrase might be. So I don't know if did you watch the Europa League, the Europa Conference League game last night? Roma and
I had to explain to Ella. She was like, "Have we ever played them before?" I said, "Well, actually, me and Uncle Roger were in Feyenoord when we played Feyenoord." So she couldn't get her head around what we played them before. I was like, "We lost to be a regular occurrence."
We lost a few brain cells over there. So if any of us are, losing a few marbles by the time we're hitting 60, you can probably find them. Amsterdam, Feyenoord, Amsterdam or Rotterdam somewhere. Probably underneath a seat somewhere in the Kuip Stadium, but we'll see. Yeah. So it's been interesting. I was watching that game and I was thinking, it seemed like a bit of a tin pot competition at the very start of the season, but I was like, oh, that'd be good to be in that next season, wouldn't it? Like playing like random teams back in Azerbaijan or wherever, like, in a couple of seasons' time, like, just, that's an avenue that we could explore and maybe have a nice few little away trips. Laura, I'd be up for a few away trips.
No.
I knew you'd say that.
I knew. That's why I said Laura. Sorry.
No, well, Scott's perfectly placed. We could probably stay, we could all bunk to his and then we'll carry on flight from there, or he could probably drive with, because, he's in
a train.
So,
you can train anywhere from Amsterdam.
I would go interrailing. Hey, that'd be good. Like backpacks, dungarees, tune tops, sorted. Geordie's on tour. Happy days. Speaking of Geordie's on tour, I think the lads next season will be talking about this controversial away strip. So stay tuned to the channel for the. We were going to talk about the
I thought you were going to start talking about it there. I started to panic.
No.
See Laura's face.
Been given. I'm under strict instruction not to touch on the kits. So I think Chris and the lads, I'm not sure whether it'll be the full crew or whether it'll be just a few of them. I'm sure they'll be they're going to get into the kits that have been recently released. Nothing's been officially confirmed, but it looks like we've got 3 kits that I think are pretty decent. But that's it. That's the end. We shall not speak of it. Zip it, lock it, put it in your pocket, and all that. But yes, so. I think we've kind of covered a lot. I mean, I was going to talk about Aston Villa copying our homework and basically players that we've been scouting, but we're not going to talk about transfers. But piss off, Aston Villa. That
Grealish one is soon drying up, so I think they'll be coming into it too.
Oh, what did we make? What was going on with Grealish? By the way,
he's a dickhead.
Like,
he's a knob.
I mean,
I like him.
Everyone likes a drink. No one likes a drunk, do they, rather?
That's right, mate. Aye. Touché, you bastard.
Just a private joke there. Yes, so yeah, I mean, Miggy's not affected because I've seen his post from Cape Verde or wherever the hell he is, sitting by his pool. I thought it was the Maldives or Mauritius or somewhere. He's looking like he's absolutely living his best life. So, well, we've come to an end. We've got no game to preview, unless you're interested in international football or the Champions League final. Just very quickly, will you be watching the Champions League final, you lot?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll try, yeah.
Probably.
We'll all be supporting.
Yeah, Hala Madrid.
I'll watch it in 5 years somewhere.
Vamos, that's it.
Yeah, Vamos Madrid. Vamos Madrid. So wherever you're watching the game, enjoy it. We will be back at some point next week, and we're going to do with kind of an end of season. But because we're a little bit extra, we'll try and think of some. I know that everyone will be doing a season review, so a lot of them already have. But we'll try and take a slightly different angle on that, as we always do, because we're a little bit extra. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining us again, Raz. That was really nice to see you again. Ian and Scott, and as always, Laura, thank you very much for joining us. Really, really enjoyed myself this evening. Really good to see you all. And sorry for dropping everything on you last minute, as always again. But at least I didn't make you sketch anything today. So,
Yeah. I wouldn't care as well. I'd worked on my drawings because of the criticism that we had. It's going to be sold for millions. The next one.
Well, Raza, what did you?
I'm waiting for Tony Hart to come back on and do his pictures.
Raza, what did your granny always used to say?
Opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one. There you are.
And I think on that note, we'll
say
good evening. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Stay tuned to the channel for that strip discussion when it eventually does come out. When the strip is released. We'll say a final goodbye to Kate Moss. Thank you very much for joining us, Kate Moss. Thank you very much. And everybody, stay safe, and we will see you the back end of next week for a season review with a little bit of a twist. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Guys.
See you later, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.